Have you heard about the ancient supercomputer that recently rewrote history?
Immediately no. What is it?
So it's called the Antikythera mechanism. It's this wild artifact they found off a shipwreck off a tiny Greek island called Antikythera back in 1901. It was a complex assemblage of 82 different fragments that they found. Gears and plates were all made of bronze.
Sounds like junk to me.
That's what I thought too. And that's what all the scientists thought for a long time. But that wasn't actually junk, dude. This was the first known supercomputer.
So what did it do then?
What I really want you to understand is that these gears weren't just like randomly turning, they were marking the movements of celestial bodies, the dates of eclipses, and even the cycle of the Olympic Games. It was essentially a mechanical model of the universe as understood by the ancient Greeks.
So immediately, that's mind-boggling, no doubt. But how could they comprehend such a device? I mean, it's so old, like your mom.
That's the thing, so many people think that all these ancient civilizations were super dumb, but maybe we just don't have record physically of what they understood, and this is kind of part of that evidence. And what we found was that they had inscriptions on the mechanism, and that these were the keys to the secrets that it held. Descriptions of the cosmos and the planets represented by colored beads moving on rings set around the inscriptions. And there were some people at the University College London that used advanced imaging techniques to actually understand the mathematical principles to decode the inscription.
Wow.
And there was also a group from the Aristotle University of Thessaloniki, I think it's called, that studied this, and there was the lead guy, and he said something like, all of our research has shown that our ancestors used their deep knowledge of astronomy and technology to construct these mechanisms. And based only on this conclusion, the history of technology should be rewritten because it sets its start many centuries back. And he also said that the mechanism is undoubtedly the first machine of antiquity, which can be classified by the scientific term computer, because it was a machine with an entry where we can import data, and this machine can bring and create results based on a scientific mathematical scale. And never before in history did he see such a device. But you want to know how it gets even wilder? There was actually inscriptions on the back, the numbers 76, 19, and 223.
What did the numbers mean?
Well, after they decoded it, they suggest that the creator of the mechanism was a follower of Pythagoras.
Pythagoras, you're talking about the triangle guy, yeah?
Oh yeah, the triangle guy, But he was much more than that. He was a philosopher, a mathematician who founded a spiritual movement that greatly influenced Greek thought. You see, Pythagoras held that the universe was built on numbers and ratios. He believed that all relationships could be reduced to number relationships, and this ethos seems to be etched into the very fabric of the Antikythera mechanism. They were also the first to propose that the Earth was not the center of the universe and it revolved around a central fire, a precursor to the heliocentric model. Their views on cosmology were revolutionary for that time. And also, our boy Pythag and his followers believed in the concept of the music of the spheres, which I think is the most interesting part about him, which is this philosophical concept proposed that each planet, as it moved through space, produced a musical note based on its velocity and distance from the center of the cosmos, and that the harmony produced by all the celestial bodies moving in concert represented the perfect order of the universe. They also believed in the transmigration of souls, reincarnation, and they also held that certain symbols and numbers have mystical significance. And here's where it gets even weirder. Pythagoras and his followers were pretty much a secret kind of, what do you want to call it, like a society? They had symbols, rituals, everything. Some of their beliefs were considered, well, eccentric.
Eccentric? How?
Well, they had a thing for beans. They reportedly avoided them because they believed beans contained the souls of the dead. They even thought that the very act of touching beans could affect the reincarnation process.
Seriously, beans?
Hey, look, maybe it's true. Who knows? My body goes wild when I have beans, so maybe he's right. So even though he had all those wild beliefs, he still had some really advanced mathematical thought and scientific thought, which led to the Antikythera mechanism, thousands of years before any other computer existed that we know of. You know, I think it's just wild that if we discover one device, it changes everything we know about history. Like, that's how fragile it is. And think about how long the Earth has been around. Like, you're telling me there's been no advanced civilizations at all, bruh? No shot. I mean, think about it. If we had a huge flood come in, like all of these ancient cultures, many tell us, most major ones, that there was a flood myth. There was some sort of flood. Was it a myth? I don't know, because here's the thing. Think about if we had a flood that overtook everything. What would be left? What records would be left? There wouldn't be nothing, which is the thing you got to think about, that what can withstand such a flood, such catastrophes, because we know from the Younger Dryas that this thing seems to reset itself every once in a while. So I think it's hard to just say that these civilizations were just not advanced. It's like, we don't know. And when we find devices like this, it just makes me think about what else did they have in the past that I don't know about? And it makes me obsessed with finding out that answer. But you know, the most important lesson that I learned from all of this is that I'll never eat a bean again. There it is, the story of the Antikythera mechanism. It's a little bit shorter of a skit than what I usually do, but I felt like I just wanted to be pretty direct in this. And it just is mind-blowing that this thing existed, because who knows what else could have existed if we know that this thing did. So, anyways, shout out to Gold Porter, Yamani Mason, and Rebecca for being legendary producers on the Patreon and really helping to support this video and all videos being produced and quicker. I really appreciate the support and the support of everyone else on Patreon. And if you want to help support this mission to kind of tell different stories, to not keep the same old crap, to really get into history, research, diving deep, then consider becoming a patron on Patreon. And you get a lot for being there. It's not just for nothing. You got 3 live workshops a month, plus a live Q&A. You can ask any questions you want. Other than that, consider subscribing if you like the content. If you want to stick around, we're gonna have plenty more skits. Are usually a little bit longer than this one, but this one was still good. I will see you in the next one, and until then, peace.